You may think of celebrities as picture-perfect entities, but they're actually just like us. They play with their pets, they go on double dates, and they even commit crimes such as DUIs and murder. Join us as we take a look at 10 celebrities who committed some of the most terrible crimes. 10 celebrities who committed terrible crimes. Mark Wahlberg. Prior to his acting and modeling career, Mark Wahlberg was charged for the attempted murder of 2 Vietnamese men who he assaulted in 2 different fights on the same day. He left one of the men blind in one eye, but was able to plead the attempted murder charge down to assault. He only served 45 days for his 2-year sentence. Jay-Z. Jay-Z is no stranger to crime. Having been a drug dealer before his fame and fortune, the rapper admitted to being part of the crack cocaine epidemic that devastated the streets of New York in the 1980s. But that's not all his criminal past entails. Before becoming a husband, father, and one of the most influential musicians in hip-hop, Jay-Z stabbed record producer Lance Riviera in the stomach. He believed Riviera was responsible for the bootlegging of one of his albums. And although he was charged for attempted murder, he ended up pleading guilty to a misdemeanor and was sentenced to 3 years probation. Matthew Broderick. In 1987, Matthew Broderick and his then-girlfriend Jennifer Grey were vacationing together in Ireland. After renting a BMW, Broderick drove into the wrong lane and crashed head-on into a Volvo, killing the mother and daughter who were in the vehicle. He was charged with causing death by dangerous driving and could have spent up to 5 years in prison, but instead the charges were dropped to careless driving with a fine of $175. Khloe Kardashian. The youngest of the Kardashian trio was arrested in 2007 for a DUI. She broke her probation when she failed to take an alcohol education class and never completed roadside cleanup duty that was part of her community service. She was sentenced to 30 days in jail, but only served 3 hours. Oscar Pistorius. Oscar Pistorius seemed to have the world at his fingertips. He was a Paralympic champion, had a beautiful girlfriend, and was the first double-leg amputee to ever compete in the Olympic Games back in 2012. Earlier this year, the athlete was found guilty of murdering his girlfriend Reva Steenkamp. Pistorius shot her through the bathroom door during an argument and was sentenced to 5 years behind bars. Jian Ghomeshi. In 2014, the Canadian radio host surrendered himself to police and was charged with 4 counts of sexual assault and choking. He was also accused of sexually harassing and assaulting 9 women in and out of the workplace over the past 12 years. Robert Downey Jr. The Iron Man star has battled with drug addiction since he was just a child and has been arrested multiple times for drug possession and drug use. These charges led to unsuccessful stints in rehab, but the actor finally managed to get his life back on track after taking some much-needed time out of the limelight. He's now more successful today than he has ever been. Chris Brown. In 2009, Brown's arrest for the violent assault of his ex-girlfriend and singing phenom Rihanna ravaged headlines everywhere. Photos of the singer's gruesome injuries were spread across major news outlets, which proved to the world what a monster Brown was. And in case you need more proof, Brown's violent run-ins have yet to wear off. Fueled by his beef with Canadian rapper Drake, Brown started a violent nightclub brawl in 2012. The next year, he was charged with a misdemeanor assault after striking a man outside of a Washington hotel. Brandy Norwood. You probably remember her as Brandy, but this R&B singer put a halt to her career when she failed to slow down on a California freeway, causing a 4-way crash that left 1 woman dead. Brandy wasn't injured, nor was she under the influence of drugs or alcohol, so she was never charged with manslaughter. But the deadly crash resulted in verbal assault and very harsh public judgment, pretty much killing her career. Will Smith. When you think of Will Smith, the last thing you probably think is criminal. But back in 1989, he was charged for aggravated assault. He was part of a group of men that assaulted a man, leaving him almost blind. He spent 1 night in jail, but avoided future jail time as the charges against him were eventually dismissed.